The Basics of Thanksgiving, a PowerPoint by Christy Kanzler. In the September of 1620, 102 religious separatists set off on the ship dubbed the Mayflower from the location of Plymouth, England, landing themselves near the currently named location of Cape Cod, 6 very, very uncomfortable days later. For the next month, they set up a small colony, much farther south than near the currently named Massachusetts Bay, much farther than they had originally planned their destination to be, of the currently named Manhattan Island. Many of the travelers had stayed upon the Mayflower during the harsh winter months. Unfortunately, more than half of the weary group did not survive in those cold months, due to malnourishment from the lack of food when setting up their colony without any time to plant or harvest, the lack of fresh and clean, safe drinking water, lack of supplies to keep warm, as well as diseases they carried across the sea with them. In the following month of March, those of the remaining few that had successfully survived the harsh winter months went on to continue their work on the slowly growing colony. Several days later, they were greeted by a Pawtuxet Native American. This was a blessing made of a man who had been on the land beforehand several years earlier. He had been kidnapped by a sea captain, sold into slavery, escaped to London, and somehow found his way back to his homeland on an exploratory expedition, learning the English language on the way. This Native American man's name was Tisquantum, who could be called Squanto for short. Tisquantum taught the malnourished settlers how to cultivate corn, catch the native fish of their area, forage, and how to extract maple sap from the trees around them. He also taught the settlers which of the native plants were poisonous and which of them were safe to eat. This Native American man's name was Tisquantum, who could be called Squanto for short. Tisquantum taught the malnourished settlers how to cultivate corn, catch the native fish of their area, forage, and how to extract maple sap from the trees around them. He also taught the settlers which of the native plants were poisonous. The following meal from the gathering was heavily filled with meat, but there was a fair amount as well of seafood, vegetables, fruit, nuts, breads, as well as porridges. It was a wide variety and collection of food that they had gathered from the harvest that they had brought together from over the months beforehand. Below is the most commonly known foods they had engaged in during their celebration that are still commonly eaten today. Duck was likely common poultry that they had available in the vast area of the land around them. It is a more believable dish since duck is still common poultry in the area of Massachusetts to this current time and day. Goose was another alternative poultry dish they might have partaken in during the time of the beloved celebration. Since similarly to ducks, goose may have been in abundance in the land they had begun to cultivate and grow into the new country. And of course, the most common poultry for a feast of this size, the beloved turkey. Not much is known whether or not they did have turkey for their feast, but it has been speculated that they may have. Another form of meat besides poultry that they partook in was deer, wild boar, and native river and ocean fish. It is unknown which of these were mostly eaten or eaten at all at this event. If they were collected, it might have most likely been by the Native Americans' contribution to the harvest celebration after their own work was done. Another section of the meals were roasted chestnuts, walnuts, corn, pumpkin, squash, carrots, and as well as peas. These were the vegetables and nuts that they may have eaten at that time during when the land was not yet cultivated and they had not grown any gardens yet. Even though not much is known about the very first Thanksgiving, it has thankfully been kept strong and alive for the past century and will hopefully always stay in that way. As a reminder of peace, fellowship, trust, and as well as family that ties everyone of all likenesses together, a special pumpkin spiced bond. Thank you for your patience and focus, and I hope you have a happy holiday to those who are celebrating this year.